What's up, people? Welcome to our brand new and very special edition of Wrestle Update. I'm your host, as always, Dylan Fox. And you know that I cannot do it alone. It would be so much worse if I was not joined. If I was joined by pretty much anyone else alive other than this guy. But you know him, you love him. He's my dear friend, Nello de Angelis. We're back again.
We are. Week after week, we keep rolling out the hits.
And we've done different stuff, and we're not just a one-trick pony. We're doing all kinds of different episodes, past reviews, current reviews, and now we kind of dig into our bag of tricks. And this is going to be one of those fantasy type of episodes because, you know, I wasn't really planning for it to happen this way, to be honest. It's just kind of how it played out with last year's Death Before Dishonor review, or last week's Death Before Dishonor review. And we were talking about it, and we liked the show. I thought we were pretty complimentary about everything and all of that. But we really struggled with a couple of things, and one of the main ones, I think, was that right now, Ring of Honor, and we go back to last month. We reviewed the first ever show. It will always be immortalized by gang type stuff. One of the greatest promos in the history of pro wrestling. But back then, Ring of Honor really stood out in the ecosystem of wrestling. And now, we just haven't been feeling it that much. So, much like if you are a usual, regular listener of Wrestle Update, I'm sure you'll remember our wonderful State of the Union address that we did a few months back. In that episode, we covered WWE and AEW. We listed what we liked, what we disliked, some stuff we would do to improve it. And this is kind of like a supercharged version of that. Only now, it's basically the whole show is what we would do to improve, so to speak. So, we've gone all out. We've both come up with plans. I didn't want to overload you with rules or anything like that. This was my idea, no joke. So if this turns out to be a terrible show, Nello is not at fault, as he never is. He really never does anything wrong in terms of this show. I'm not saying your whole life. Like I said, I'm not saying you're a perfect human being. I know that we've all made mistakes, and that's okay. That's part of being human. But in terms of the show, you've basically been perfect. So if this is our first mistake, it's all because of Dylan. Let's remember that. But if it plays out good, I came up with the idea, so we could both get some good credit for that, and I think it will. Especially with what I've put down in my idea for this, I'm very confident that it will. In fact, so basically, when I came up with this idea, we talked about it last time when we did that episode, the State of the Union address. You told me you really liked it because it kind of got you thinking a little bit more. We were kind of on the offensive rather than reacting. Like as we usually do with a lot of these review shows, it's like we see it, we compartmentalize it, we analyze it, we do every kind of eyesing of things that we can eyes. But this is something totally different. So how were you feeling when I said, Nello, I have this idea? Were you like, man, what a dumbass idea this is? Or were you like, yeah, let's do it?
I'm always hyped. I like fantasy booking. I love being creative, and just shooting the shit with you is that cherry on top. So I was very hyped.
Absolutely. And I feel the same way. You know, I being here with you makes it a zillion times better than it is, actually, to be honest, usually. So, I will shout out. I'm doing things kind of different than he did it, but it is somewhat similar, and this is something that got passed around to me. You know, that Voices of Wrestling, on their Patreon, they did a somewhat similar idea, rebuilding the NWA. So I do want to shout them out on there for coming up with a similar idea, putting it in writing. They did some different stuff in their article. He was writing down like different people he would bring in, and obviously the NWA is a smaller level than ROH, but that is a good inspiration, I suppose, for this idea. Although there's some pretty key differences if you read the article and what we're going to do here, I do have to admit. But I did want to shout that out because fantasy booking is fun, A, but B can give some good ideas as things go along. If you know, and I'm not saying that I'm the cause of this. Again, I don't want to take credit for anything. I'm just saying that I remember on that State of the Union address episode, I said AEW should sign Adam Priest, and what do you see on Collision just a month or two later? But look who's feuding with FTR all of a sudden, and then has a match with them, and who's getting brought in. I'm just saying, if TK's listening, Tony, like lots of respect for you. Feel free to use any ideas that we give out. If anybody else in the company's listening, maybe you could pass them along to my man up there. Maybe say, hey, these Wrestle Update guys, they had some good ideas. Or maybe you'll be like, man, Dylan, he came up with some crazy ass shit. But Nello's ideas, man, we should steal those for sure. There, like, don't listen to the other guy. We don't know what they're going to say. Maybe they like my ideas better. We don't know. That's the thing. Unless someone contacts us, which I'm always welcome to talk to anybody at AEW or any company, really. But basically, with all of that set up out of the way, basically, we're going to try and run things down on a certain summary of things. And I was kind of debating this when I was putting this together. I didn't take too long about it. I wanted it to be natural. I wanted to kind of go as the ideas went. But basically, we've got 4 key points that we're going to break down in a row, and then a summary at the end. And I think the first and somewhat, I don't want to say the most important part for me personally, again, they were fine with what they did. It was really the identity was the main thing. But I want to start with the rosters and then kind of explain the identity that we built with our rosters, pretty much. And again, at least for me, I don't know what we have, and we're going to talk about it. I'm sure yours and I's are going to be different. Yours and my ideas are going to be a little bit different as well. More eyes going on in this show. But at least for me, my first move, if let's say, again, we're going on this on the idea that Tony Khan has named us the head of Ring of Honor. If this show airs and he gives us a phone call, this is more or less of an outline of what we would do, or at least try to do. I really wanted it to be as realistic as possible. We're not going to bring in a megastar level player or anything like that into Ring of Honor for, we're not going to say we're going to pay Cena $1 billion to leave WWE and screw over them on his retirement run and sign with Ring of Honor. We're not going to do anything crazy like that. It's going to be realistic. We think that this can work if they follow our ideas, our process. Trust the process. So with that said, I'm going to let you bat lead off here as the Cubs head into a playoff race this month with only a few weeks left in the season. Let's start off with the roster you've constructed, and then after that, we can kind of talk about your identity that you had in mind for this roster you put together. So, let's give a look at the roster here for you. And just before you talk about the names and things like that, did you start off with an identity in mind for what you wanted, or did you build the roster first and then kind of build the identity around it?
So the identity that I wanted was really reliable hands with a bunch of young guys. Lots and lots of young guys. Like this is your NXT for AEW, but in no way or like are we presenting it like that, but it's like, let's get the guys in here, let's give them their reps. This is our future generation, right? So I wanted to keep it something that can benefit the main roster to where people can Ring of Honor, or people from AEW can go to Ring of Honor for extended stretches, whatever, man. But yeah, so probably the identity came through with the roster though, for sure. So my men's first, who I've kept, who's returning, and then who are my new people, right?
Yeah, that is how we listed it. I think that's a good idea. I think we'll just kind of go one by one here to keep it. We're not just reading off names for up and down. So yeah. Cool. All right. So you bat lead off. Like I said, who are you keeping and who's coming back?
And something I'll say right here is that whoever's on Ring of Honor, they are not appearing on AEW television at all.
That was one of my first pick, that would literally, not to interrupt you, but that would literally be my first announcement. If, again, hypothetically, if I was put in charge of Ring of Honor tomorrow, that would literally 100% be my first goal. I would say, look, Tony, I need my guys. No more crossover. Like, these are Ring of Honor people. In both of our rosters, we agree on that. So I'm glad that you also agreed with that as well.
Yeah. All right. So first one that I'm keeping might be controversial simply because they're a champion on the main roster too, but this is the summer of Bandito, and I don't think that there could be a better Ring of Honor World Champion. So I'm going to keep Bandito. I'm going to be selfish. Who's your first draft pick?
Yeah, same thing. Like Bandito would for sure. Like, you've got to have the champion. If Tony wants him, I mean, obviously again, hypothetically, we're pretty much going to be at his behest no matter what. If he decides one day, like, look, we need Bandito, you can have your Ring of Honor guys, but I need Bandito. Like, we're going to have to lose him, but at least we'll keep him for now and maybe build up to him losing, and then he can go to AEW. But for right now, we need Bandito. He's built up a lot of buzz. He's an amazing wrestler, and he's the champ. I think we need him.
Hell yeah. All right. Number 2. This is a return. Someone that I think was, someone that was a world champion in another company before Impact that I think could have a good presence in a main event scene, get them some reps on some promo shit, right? Brian Cage.
Okay. I think that's a good pick right there. I think he's a guy that... The thing is, like, the guys that are kind of in between AEW or Ring of Honor, a lot of them are guys that are not going to be able to shine on AEW TV. And because, like I said, he's a part of the Callis family, which has 27 members currently, and he's arguably the lowest ranked. Putting him in Ring of Honor automatically increases his chance for success. And so the family loses a big one, though. You've taken him away. He's a good pick, though.
Who's your next pick?
For me, I'm again, especially considering what we saw and how I disagree with how she was used. I would pick Athena. Bringing her back in.
You're keeping her as your forever champion.
Yes, exactly.
But one of the first people I cut or graduated, maybe is what I should say, was Athena.
I'd be just so afraid of her, kind of like I said, it felt like they really didn't give her the forever champion treatment that when she went to AEW against Mercedes, or against Toni Storm, excuse me, and against Mercedes, to be honest. And so I was just really worried about that overall. But hey, if you're ready for her to go, and for what you're saying with NXT, like Ring of Honor is AEW's NXT, I think letting her go would be the smart move. So, if it was me for the men's pick, I would pick another champion, and that's one half of the tag champions. Sammy. No, I'm kidding. Roosh on there. I love Roosh, a former ROH champion. And that kind of plays into my backstory. On my idea, I want to see what you do with NXT. I want to hear your rosters, and I'll kind of say mine. So you go through your men, and I'll kind of react all around, and then I'll say mine because my idea is a little bit different than yours for the company itself.
So, in terms of just who I'm keeping and returning, or all of them?
Just for the keeping and returning right now for the guys. I said we'll take it one by one.
So we've got Bandito, Brian Cage, ever reliable former world champion Dalton Castle.
Okay.
Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Nick Wayne, keeping him purely on Ring of Honor. Yeah. Roosh Dralistico, Sammy Guevara, Beast Mortos is in the faction but stays on AEW. And Hechicero.
See, we ran into the same problem with LFI. Like, Beast, I don't want to keep him here. I want to keep him and Mercedes happy together. But I also really want LFI. So we had to make the sad decision to lose the Beast. But if we ever do some kind of interpromotional angle, he's going to be one of the first guys. I think we'll both agree on that. Like, we might have lost Beef, but in spirit, he's always a Ring of Honor guy in our hearts.
Someone else, my other guy that I'm keeping, Beef.
Yeah, Beef. Hey, he was on Collision and stuff too. Yeah, draft Beef. When's the last time he's been on AEW? Remember when we did our PWI episode and it had all those those interesting people that they had on.
Oh my
that.
God, yes.
And
Vixen?
we tried to put Vixen. Remember we tried to put Hideo Kojima in there. I put him on the logo for the show. That was one of the most unhinged episodes I think we ever did. We've grown up a little bit. Yeah, one day we'll do another PWI 500 in a month or two when that comes out. I don't know if it'll be as crazy as the first one, for sure. But yeah, so like you said, these are guys. You know, you said your mission statement was to kind of go younger, be the NXT. You let go of a lot of guys off the roster, a lot of the old timers and stuff like that. So with these guys here, also another Don Callis family member lost with Hechicero. You let him keep Beast Mordos, but you took Hechicero from them. So yeah, like these are all really good picks. I love the Nick Wayne pick as well. I think he really fits in with what you wanted to do here, and he's kind of like your young ace. You've got a mix of guys here. You know, a lot of the guys I noticed were a little bit older, but I think you're probably going to change it with the guys you bring in and bring a lot of the new guys in, the young bloods, so to speak. But you got a good roster here. I like what I saw. For me, I'll kind of say mine right away. You know, my identity that I had in mind was that I want Ring of Honor to stand out on its own, and I want it to be the quote-unquote, like, I want to bring Ring of Honor to what it was in the Golden Ages. Like, I want this to be the true, pure wrestling show. Sports style presentation for real this time, not the AEW style, but the real style of sports presentation. Like all serious angles. You know, I'm going like full Baba right here. All clean finishes, like going ahead. I'll talk more about that later. Some of my ideas that I have to ensure that. But that's my goal. Like Ring of Honor for like bringing the honor back to Ring of Honor, pretty much. Like all pure style wrestling, and I want to build around that ethos, so to speak. There. So, for me, when you looked at your roster, because you kept a few, would you say you kept more or brought in more new?
I think I kept more probably. Like there's some other people now that I look at it that I'm like, I could have drafted a Trent, right? Someone who's not utilized on AEW television. But I didn't really look at the AEW roster. I mostly just kept my eyes on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And AEW guys, I'll bring in a few of those as we talk about. So for me, my keeping, again, I'm going to leave the AEW people. I've got a couple of new faces that I kind of want to mix in and freshen up that I think aren't getting used in AEW, and they can be used better maybe in my Ring of Honor. We'll put them aside for now. So first of all, I'm keeping, and we're going full alphabetical order here in between. First of all, I'm keeping Bandito, as I mentioned. He's my champion. Also keeping Rush and Sammy. Like they're my tag champs. And Lee Moriarty. So All of the champions stay on Ring of Honor. I think they're better off here anyway.
The titles are in good hands right now.
And I'll also keep Shane Taylor Promotions as well, so 6-man titles also change. So yeah, like I was keeping all the champions as close knit as I could here. Again, I'm trying to make realistic moves, not anything too crazy. I hear. We'll see if we'll let the fans judge, I suppose, on that. So for me, we have all the champions. I'm going with QT and Aaron Solo on there. So QTV has a home here. Whenever I need a celebrity match, QT will always be around for that. We can always reach to that thing. I'm drafting the Dark Order into Ring of Honor here. Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Colt Cabana are all here. Bring Colt back home. He was a Ring of Honor guy very dramatically. So now they're all here. Bringing the Dark Order back in there. I'm bringing in Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. They're 3.0 are reuniting in the Ring of Honor setting. Anthony Henry and JD Drake, the Workhorsemen, are going to be there. They're not going nowhere. Josh Woods and Tony Nese, the Premier Athletes. They're longtime indie stalwarts. Again, another indie type of revolution I've got.
You know what's funny is like I didn't even forget these guys. I cut them all before.
You just cut them all.
I just cut all these guys. Yeah.
Totally understandable. Like I said, I'm not building main eventers, but I want depth to my roster because I'm really building up this pure division, bringing it on a whole identity. I'm not forcing Tony Khan's hand on anything. I'm just gonna let it ride out, man. At the end of the day,
I feel like I really gutted my roster, and now I'm bringing in a lot of outsiders. So I'm excited to see what you do with the outside talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, who else do we have here? That was there already. I'll keep MXM. I'll let them be like my social media guys, pretty much. Like they're like the guys that don't fit the ethos on the roster, the exception that proves the rule. Like two goofy guys, I could have, somebody beat the shit out of them on the first show to prove like what we're about. And whenever I need an Instagram hit, the guys love wrestling. They might have some ideas to fit in as well. So I listen to what they got to say, but they wouldn't be main players at all. Lee Johnson, I'll keep as well. I actually like him. I think he's got some good potential, good personality, and all of that. I think that's it. Actually, like of all the Ring of Honor guys there that weren't already in AEW, I suppose, because I do have some guys bringing in as well there. So yeah, overall, that's my people I'm keeping. I kept a good amount of the roster. I kind of like split it in half. I feel bad.
Why, for me, like the Tony Nese guys and all that, like I know Josh Wood is an old Ring of Honor guy, but I'm like, these are the guys that make it feel like not Ring of Honor to me and more of like a grab bag of these are just the dudes that we've seen wrestle on 5 other shows now.
The Premier Athlete, the Evolve legend, Tony Nese.
Yep.
Man.
They just like, it's a lot of bounce around guys, people that have been bounced around the shows and now they've landed here.
And to be fair, a lot of those guys are filler guys, to be fair. But it's not like I'm saying, I'm going to give Tony Nese a big push in my Ring of Honor.
There.
He's like a glue guy, like whenever you need somebody, a younger guy to learn a little bit, he's got experience all over the place. I'm not keeping every like goofy undercard guy, but I do think you need a few good hands, so to speak, that I don't really have any plans for them, but they're there to fill out the roster and give us some squash matches every week. And
I will
occasionally,
say that, I do have my tag teams roster as well, and a lot of other,
and that's another thing,
talent too.
Pretty much everything I meant, that's going to be a big part of my Ring of Honor. Pretty much every draft pick I made were all a part of a team, too. Like, if you noticed. I think the only one who wasn't was like, first of all, Bandito, who's the champion, and like, Lee Johnson, so to speak. Like that's about it. Because I mean that would be my second move. After I announce that all of our Ring of Honor guys stay on Ring of Honor, my second move is to fire Blake Christian and ensure that he never wrestles on my
Oh
show.
my god.
Yeah, that would be literally my first phone call I'd make. I'd be like, Blake, enjoy GCW, and please don't be the champion over there again. I'm sorry,
Damn.
that was mean, but he is bad. Come on, can you really blame me? The swirl, the swirl is broken up. I refuse to allow that on my show. You can have him if you want. I love how neither of us had Dustin either. Tony Khan's already pissed.
No. Fuck no, dude.
You hate him. See, I like him, but I want him to be a backstage guy. Not on the show. Because I do think he can help some of the young guys, just not as a triple champion like Tony booked him into. So
you're calling Blake Christian first, and I'm calling Dustin first.
yeah, our most hated wrestlers are both gone.
Saying, we're gonna send all your shit in a trash bag, and you can just mail those titles back.
Yeah, like I said, I tell him, I'd be like, look, don't even come back. Like, we'll send them to you. Like, we'll send whatever you left behind. But I'd be nice about it. I give him a parting gift, a wonderful state-of-the-art fruit basket that he could have. I mean, think of all the fruit juice he can make out of that. I'd send him a juicer too. Do you have a juicer? It's really good.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, no joke. A juicer's really good. I'm not even joking around. Like, it makes really great juice. So, is that not enough for him? What more can I do? But anyway, let's see who you're bringing in then. Now that we've kind of got that off the ground, we've got our kind of base guys here that we've asked Tony to keep. We made some hard decisions on the cutting room floor, and we'll get to that in a second. But for now, we want the positive vibes. Who are you bringing in?
The way I would do it is I would book it as the new signees are going to feud with the current roster. Like, that's the first thing that happens, right? Kind of like a Nexus type shit. So I'm announcing all of my signings in like a live draft, and I'm like, I'm bringing these people on stage. It's like a G1 style press conference type shit, right? So first off, Jordan Oliver. Of course, naturally after that comes Alec Price.
Yep. We have some similar ideas, I'm hearing.
One of my favorite guys from the UK, Man Like Duress.
Okay. Progress.
The king of the dog collar, Mad Dog Connolly, I think would fit so well into Ring of Honor. The young, upcoming teriyaki.
Yeah.
Drew Parker.
Noah veteran.
Yep. Drew Parker. The technician, I'm bringing him out of retirement with a pretty nice, I'm not talking about Johnny Saint. I won't go that far, but Daniel Makabe, I'm going to bring him out of retirement with a pretty nice paycheck. KJ Orso, Shane Mercer, one called Manders, Mr. Danger, and Lil Sicko. That's my new era of honor.
I love it. I love that you brought in Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko.
I had to.
Okay, so yeah, you've got kind of your polished guys as your base group, and then you brought in the indie dudes, like the modern indie guys here. My GCW, if this comes to pass, has taken some hits, like in their roster. For sure. I mean, they still got guys, but and like a lot of those guys have been downplayed, more or less. But the indies, they lost some good ones in yours. So I like what you had in mind there. Do you think there's any heat between KJ and AEW? I mean, he was like complimentary of them when he left. When he was still Fuego.
I don't think there is any.
Yeah, I don't think there is either. But I just know that he left kind of in unfortunate terms. Not anything heat wise, but just bad timing really for him. But yeah, you're right. All of those are good picks. I like the idea that you came up with two. You've already got like a main storyline. the old school versus the new school type of deal. And a lot of the newer guys are kind of wild. Your deathmatch guys, your high flying guys, and stuff like that. They add a different spice to yours, so I really like your roster there. So in terms of bringing in, first of all, the AEW returnees that I'm going to ask for, we'll see. Do you think Tony Khan will fight me hand over fist to keep any of these people? Or do you think that maybe they'd be better off for Ring of Honor? Let's say it that way. Or do you think that they're good where they're at now and wouldn't be used better? So the first people I brought in were Crew, Action Andretti, and Lio Rush on there. Kind of an undercard act in AEW. Feel like they have more potential than that, and would kind of give them a bigger run in Ring of Honor. I keep, I guess I kind of keep, because I would add in Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian as a team into there. I'm no Kip Sabian fan, but he's already established to the fans as a partner. You bring the act over. Luchasaurus, you can do whatever you want with him. We don't need him. But bringing in Nick Wayne is kind of like my upper crown jewel type of guy. I would have a storyline with him because I would bring in Jordan Oliver and Alec Price too from the outside. And I would try to have a storyline that builds to Nick Wayne reuniting with Jordan Oliver pretty much. That would be a long-term goal of mine. I'd bring in... this is very important. These two are unchangeable because it's a very important part of my booking, pretty much my storyline. I'd bring in Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Former ROH champions both. They represent the brand well. They would be main event players on my show. And I think they would do a lot better here than what they're doing in AEW, which is nothing at the moment. I'd bring in Dante and Darius Martin, Top Flight. Another tag team, young guys. Let's see what we can get out of them. They're not even on TV really, so no big loss there. Now we start to get a little spicier with my last couple of guys here. This is where I'm kind of reaching into the grab bag a little bit. He's injured right now, but I'd give Buddy Matthews a call and let Brody do his thing. He's already gotten so over with the fans. I wouldn't really want to wreck it. And for him, if he comes back and feuds with Brody, that's not going to work. Brody is automatically going to go over him. Here he has a chance to build himself back up again. This is kind of like a rehab run for Buddy. If he can do great, get really over again, maybe he gets back into AEW, and that's kind of the case for all of these guys that I'm bringing in from AEW. The door is open to go back if Tony likes what he sees and needs him again. But I think for the near future, at least, let him go on an excursion for my company and let's see what he can do. So Buddy is my pick. Anthony Bowens is another guy that I think is really floundering in AEW. In Ring of Honor, he's away from Billy Gunn. He's away from Caster. He's I'd find something totally different than what they're doing with him right now. And I think he's a great person to have for representation's sake. And they don't really take advantage of it very well in AEW. I would try to really go, sit down with this guy, talk with an hour, see what his vision is for his character, and try to really really get the best out of that overall. Because I think he would really get over. A lot of fans were clamoring for him to get pushed early on, but with how it's happened, he just hasn't been able to put it together in AEW. I give my shot at it. Now we're going with my big names, pretty much, that I would bring over, that I think would do better. First and foremost is I'm kind of taking a page out of your playbook with your Brian Cages and Hechiceros. But instead, I'm giving Josh Alexander the call down. Mainly because they haven't given him any storyline at all. Nobody knows him or his character whatsoever. So I would have in mind to have him do a short-term run on paper. And every week on my show, I'd have him cutting promos. Tell his story, whatever it is. me and Tony would collaborate on it a little bit. What do you really see in this guy? And I try to get that out on my TV time that obviously they can't spare on theirs. But I would do it with myself, rebuild him up again, and then maybe you've had a ready-made guy for round 2 in AEW. Another guy of a similar fashion, Danny Garcia. I've already got 3.0. He got a good promo on Collision a couple of weeks ago, where he really showed out. But still, he's really floundered for a long time now in AEW. I would have him in again for a short-term run with 3.0. But eventually, I would try to unlock something more out of him. Give him a run as a main event player, title challenger level guy. And then in 6 months, we see if Tony's ready to bring him in and has a storyline for them instead of just being like, hey, we're going to throw so-and-so into the Don Callis family and just let him wrestle. I would want to build storylines for these people and show what they've got. And finally, the man I said I would also be a top 4 guy in AEW and a former Ring of Honor champion. My real number 1 draft pick above everybody else would, of course, be Mark Briscoe. It's time to come home. AEW, I cannot bear to see you feud with MJF anymore. So again, he's another one that I like franchise tag. It's undisputable. If I'm going to run Ring of Honor, Mark Briscoe has to get away from MJF and be in Ring of Honor. I put it in my contract. He must come back home. So what do you think of those guys? There, Nello, that I brought in. Any thoughts on the crew I brought over?
Yeah, we went complete opposite directions, I feel like, which is awesome. You're really, really investing brand as I feel like something that's comparable to an AEW, whereas I'm definitely positioning it underneath.
At least, I mean, this roster I put together is not comparable to the roster. I do have to admit, but I think it at least has a purpose at this point. Also, no, I do have some...
I placed a ceiling on mine in terms of a Briscoe, a Garcia. Those guys are too big for the brand.
I mean,
you are really making that investment, which I appreciate.
I don't think they're too big based on, not in my mind. That's a different case. I said it myself. Briscoe's a top 5 guy in AEW to me, but what they're doing with him, is he really that big if he's getting threatened to be set on fire? It feels like they don't have that kind of faith in him. They think of him as a fun mid-card guy is kind of what the vibe I get from his character. Do you feel like that he's been pushed more than that?
No.
And I think Garcia is probably more important to TK. He'd probably be the one I think he'd fight most about. If he were to say, no, you're rejected, he would probably be the one. But I think that if we lose him, I would at least ask about it. It's possible we don't get all these guys at the end of the day, but he's somebody I would at least make the phone call to. I think that's a more fair way of looking. These are our plans. If Tony votes no on them, or something happens where we can't get them, maybe in your case, one of the guys has heat somewhere at AEW and doesn't want to go, we at least make the call and we make the effort to get him. I have a couple that were completely outside of the AEW verse here that I'll run to, and we'll see what you think about these picks. Also, my real big move, and now I'm getting really risky here because this guy is a main eventer. I would ask Tony, again, I'm just asking, he's free to say no. But if I could, and if you want to maximize Ring of Honor for my plans for it, I would say right now, I don't want him right now. I would tell him right away, this is not a long-term play. He's too popular and too good. But if you want to give us an injection of star power for a few months, I would ask what I could do to have a brief Samoa Joe reunion on Ring of Honor. Put the belt on Joe, one of the most famous ROH champions ever, and see if I could get something out of that. Just in general, he would be the one that I think would be the most likely that I could. But I'd always be asking that with what I want, the history of Ring of Honor, bring ROH back, and all that stuff. I'd be asking about Nigel, Bryan. Can we make these guys our champion? That would be my pitch pretty much. Can I have a few months with so-and-so as the champion? So that would be another thing I would ask. He may say no. He may not care enough. but I would ask for that because I think it fits my ethos as like, hey, we're bringing ROH back to the golden age. So for new guys, Oliver and Price, they were the top two guys on my list that I want to bring in. I would also bring in, I forgot to mention him, too. I'd have Tommy Billington come over as well from AEW. He's been away for a while. He's just now getting back on TV. I think there's a ton of upside with him. And I bring in his brother Mark as well. Like, reunite the Billington Bulldogs. Like, get everything sorted out. Let's see what these guys could do under a real run as a team. Try and counter some nostalgia as a pure wrestling team. The Bulldogs. I bring in the bad dude Tito. He's been let go from New Japan or left amicably in some way. Just doing freelance stuff. I like the bad dude, Nello. I don't know if you've seen much of his run in New Japan Strong, but every time he's on those New Japan shows, I think he stands out in a positive way, and I think he fits what I want as a hard-hitting, pure guy.
A great pick. Great pick.
And very easily, realistically, and doable too as well. Like, he'd be an easy signing, I feel like. Pretty much all of my guys I picked, like, I didn't even touch GCW that much outside of Oliver and Price. And this is like a total nostalgia pick, the last four. I'm bringing all Ring of Honor veterans here to come back. First of all, I bring in Kushida. Freelance guy, based in America, not doing the match in New Japan right now. Still does shots for them for the Best of Super Juniors and doing things there. But I definitely think if they offered him a shot, a contract, he's already freelance as it is. Why not come on over to Ring of Honor? Be a good guy for the pure division, a name that people know and have fond memories of. I think he's a good guy to have. Of a similar vein, I bring in the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham. I know he left with a ton of heat. I'd have to talk to Tony about this one, probably. But I want more pure guys. Like, this is my ethos.
In the conversation with Tony, are you reminding him what his PWI number was?
That's exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, Tony, did you not listen to our PWI episode that year when we talked about beef? You brought in beef. You can bring in Jonathan Gresham, okay? And we're giving Hideo Kojima a call as well. I'm going to ask him what he thinks about Metal Gear Delta coming in there. Although he was credited.
Okay,
I was kind of surprised by that.
Is Gresham not signed to Impact? Only because I didn't pick anyone that was signed to other companies.
No, he's a freelancer.
Okay, so
I think he's wrestled in TNA for a while.
I felt like he just wrestled for him recently.
Have I Mandela affected the octopus out of my mind, Nello?
Let me see here.
And look it up. Correct Dylan if he's wrong. It's a moot point because I have another Impact guy coming up, but still. Let's see here. Nope, all GCW.
Yeah, okay, I guess he finished up last year. Yeah.
Let's see. So a pure guy, like, fits in my ethos. Former Ring of Honor champion, in fact. Another guy with history. We like that.
Great pick.
Now I'm going to the really nostalgia picks. I would really, really only use these people short term. But again, it fits the role. You know what I'm saying? It's not about them per se.
Just get on with it. It's Beer City Bruiser. Get on with it.
No, he is not. He has never been any kind of champion. I feel like in Ring of Honor. I liked him well enough, but still, on my last two picks, I'm going to bring back and piss off a lot of people. I'm going to make sure that he is not allowed into the creative room. But I bring in Jimmy Jacobs one more time.
Oh fuck! If they're gonna say Delirious, that is so inoffensive. Jimmy Jacobs is great. One
of my all-time favorites. And very influential to my character, in fact, when I wrestled. As one of the emo guy type of character. Love Ballad of Lacey, all that. Really creative guy. Too creative to write stuff. But I think he would be good to have around. And especially, he's kind of like my token deathmatch guy. Like, if I need a hardcore bloody brawl, I know I could go to him for it. Eventually, I would try to bring that back, but I really want to recondition the fans to not accept that. So Jacobs is back. Also, my one signing that I made from TNA, again, so I didn't have anybody else signed, but I would try to bring in Eddie Edwards for one more Ring of Honor run. I loved him back in the day. He's basically toast for what he's done in TNA. Like, he's not anywhere near where he was 15 years ago. But I'm former champion. I would build a storyline around him, kind of trying to adopt a young guy. In my booking, I'm looking at the teams I put together. I would put him and Bowens together as a team and basically try to turn Bowens into a pure Ring of Honor guy. That would obviously lead to a feud afterwards on there. But there's a number of guys like Lee Johnson as well you could put in. I just want him to adopt somebody and then have them build a feud based on the history of the company. So there you go. All my picks kind of fit what I said in my my statement, my mission statement. Former Ring of Honor champions, a bunch of former champions, pure title guys. I think I built together a pretty great roster, all things considered. Again, I think in this role, Bandito's my champion. If I get him, Mark's probably my second guy, like my biggest star. And besides that, again, I think I have a lot of guys that just are underpushed in AEW that just don't have enough time to really get the most out of them. But like I said, I think that those guys are kind of my good forte here. So what do you think of my roster I put together?
It's great. Like I said, you are like investing real, like, not to call my people not real main event talent, but like a lot of future guys, right, etc. You were really trying to rebuild the brand, not as Ring of Honor under AEW, but as Ring of Honor itself, like pre-AEW.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I like that we have different. I think your goal is totally valid, like as well. I would have loved to have put together a roster thinking of that idea and what I would have done with it. And I think, like I said, with you really boosted up the indies with yours more. I really didn't have any major name. Like, again, like outside of and even then, Jordan Oliver's been he's been down cycled a little bit for a little while. He's building back up with Price. But those are really the main two guys on mine. I don't really have anybody else out, like in terms of names. Like, you got an all-star team coming in to be the new generation, and hopefully, I think the goal with yours is that Tony Khan, he would see these guys that you brought in, and you could get something out of him with your creative mind, and Tony Khan would give them a shot in AEW afterwards. Like a Manders or a Mad Dog Connolly or something like that,
I definitely want like the vibes of CZW versus Ring of Honor at the beginning, with like the new guys versus the old blood.
Yeah, no, and I love that. I mean, that was one of the best feuds ever.
Sicko versus Hechicero? Come on.
Yeah. See, it is. It is. I love what you put together. And I as soon as you brought them in, and Mr. Danger too, I popped big for that. You did a great job with that. See, we've explained our ethos and what we're putting together. So yeah, go on.
Let me go into my tag teams real quick, because I only have a men's tag division, and then this essentially finishes out my men's roster. So because this also has some current, returning, and new blood. So Workhorsemen definitely staying. These are guys that I would push to the moon. I think that they're fantastic. JD Drake and Anthony Henry, wildly underrated. Just like, to me, they fill the gap that a Kyle O'Reilly and a Roderick Strong may fill. I think they're the same type of bruiser, brawler, technical team, which takes me into a fun team that, I don't think is technically sound, but really good characters. Just got some championships for the first time. The Infantry. I'm keeping them around.
Yeah.
A deal. I need the next team for sure, because one, they're fucking hilarious. Two, I need people to take falls. MXM.
Yeah, we had the same thing in mind. Yeah.
Yep. And then another team, and I kind of have some teams in my tag division where I'm like, these are also guys that could maybe take falls for the singles as well. But I was trying to think of a really fun sort of lucha team, and I settled on the team of Commander and Angelico. I think that they could do a lot of cool shit together in the tag division and tear it up. The team of YDNP, Jordan Oliver and Alec Price, LFI, Top Flight, I would bring down.
Yeah.
Danger's So Sick, the team of Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko. And I would also bring in the Young Guns from Progress and the Grizzled Young Veterans. And they would probably be the faces of my tag division for a good couple years. I don't know why Grizzled Young Veterans aren't on TV, really.
That whole grit your teeth thing didn't really get over.
No.
Can you make him stop saying that in Ring of Honor?
No, I'm actually changing the name Grizzled Young Veterans to Grit Your Teeth.
GYT. Yeah, see, so I love it. Yeah. Yeah, those are all good teams, to be honest. I'm kind of realizing that. Well, I mean, I do have the Billington guys, even though they're from Canada, really. Like, the only Brit I have is Kip Sabian. When you think about it, I could probably use somebody from there. Like, now that I think about it. And the more you keep bringing it up, the more I wish that I had Danger So Sick, to be honest.
Congratulations, dude. I just gave you the contract for Ricky Knight Jr.
He's in Noah. Now, he's in the N1, which, by the way, really? I did a... Yeah. By the way, I did a full N1 preview on the Eastern Lariat. If y'all want to listen to that, check it out. Me and Dr. Jonathan Foy announced a new Noah book, which I'm going to be in. Like, I'm a part of on there. Like I said, I don't know if that makes me an author, really, or just a guy with a credit in a book. So, I mean, it's basically the same, right? Like, but not really. But he talked about his book. We did a full preview, talked about Ricky Knight. Safe to say, I'm not signing him. Just a Ring of Honor. Long story short of that. So for me, my tag team and factions, because I did keep the 6-man titles. So I kind of mentioned factions too. I go with a 3.0 team: Garcia, Parker, Menard. I'd probably break Garcia away, and I know that I'm going to have to give him back pretty soon, probably anyway. But fun indie team. Menard did an amazing babyface job against FTR a few months ago on Collision. Like, incredible performance there. So 3.0, Billington Bulldogs, Crew, Dark Order, coming in there. You've got Edwards and Bowens I'd put together as a team. Like, that was my pick there, to give them something to do. LFI would be a team. Kip and Nick Wayne. Again, that's probably going to break up pretty fast. Again, I want to build Nick back into YDNP eventually. AMXM as well, QTV, Paragon team, Premier Athletes, Woods and Nice, STP, doing their thing. You get pretty much everybody in there, the infantry as well. I'd bring back Stu Grayson too. Reunite the Super Smash Brothers, bring him into Dark Order. Remember when they let him go the first time, and people made a huge deal out of it, and then they brought him back, and then just did nothing with him. Like, they made a big deal about his return, and then just did nothing with him. So now in Ring of Honor, we'll do something with you, Super Smash Bros. Indie veterans now in my version of Ring of Honor. Top Flight, Workhorsemen, YDMP. So our tag divisions have a lot of crossover, but it's good. I got 16 teams. I can run a full tournament if I wanted to for the title with them. So I like that we made that a big part of our roster as well. So with that said,
that's a solid tag division. No, I think I'd watch your show.
Yeah, I've tried to build it. I mean, isn't that the goal of this ultimately? Like, nobody really watches the show as it is. We're trying to figure out ways to make this something where people want to watch and follow along every week. And again, we both have solid mission statements that with the roster. So, you want to talk about the women next?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, my keeping and returning, and then I'll go into my new. I'll just kind of go through all of it.
Yeah.
But I've definitely chiseled down my roster a bit. I'm keeping Billy Starks. She is beating Athena for the title on the very first show, and Athena is graduating to AEW University. So, after that, Deonna Purrazzo, welcome back. Diamante, you're killing it.
Yes.
Mercedes Martinez, where have you been? It's time to get back in the ring, girl.
Has she been?
Serena Deeb, classes in session, professor.
One of the best entrance theme songs too.
I'm actually going to push you. Red Velvet, we're going to be taking some falls. My new roster that I'm bringing in, Jordan Blade, I think you could be a really fucking great heel. Miyu Yamashita, I can't wait to take the title off Billy Starks.
Okay.
Shotzi Blackheart, I need a face for the Dishonor in this promotion. Shuri, because I need someone to take the title off Miyu Yamashita.
Yes.
Because Shotzi needs a dominant heel to basically be her foil. I think Shotzi and Alice Crowley could be like my Hangman Swerve of the women's division. Layla Hirsch, fuck being a referee. Welcome back. Here's a big contract. Emerson Jane. I think she is the most underrated independent women's wrestler. She can do it all. One of my favorite deathmatch, one of my favorite pure wrestlers. Like, she is a 10 out of 10. I don't know why she isn't signed. And then I'm bringing in the team of Chan Yoda and Zones. Welcome in my muscle fucking freaks, my fucking legends.
That's so true. That's so true, Nello. That really fits them so well.
I'm going to be selling Zones' mouth guard, but it'll be like after she wears it. So it's,
God.
Yep.
You're breaking all the taboos. I love it. Yeah, merch money.
Merch.
Genius.
Nina Samuels, I also think she's very underrated. Great heel, champion. And then this is probably my biggest signing. I think that she could be great and probably take the title off Shuri, Dakota Kai.
Okay, we talked about her when they let her go, and she was kind of the one that stood out of that class. I think that's well worth, that's totally worth a look. But let me ask you this. What if she says, I will only sign with you if you bring in my boyfriend, Eddie Thorpe, Carl Fredericks?
I'd take in Carl Fredericks for sure. That's actually a really good signing idea. I'll add Carl Fredericks and Trent to mine.
Okay, it gives you something to play with there. I like that. If you could get something out of Evie, I think that she was at one time great. She lost a lot of injuries, but if you could get it out of her, if you could get the spark back in her, because obviously WWE kind of kills a lot of people's passions for wrestling. If you can bring it back for her, that's an incredible signing. Like, she was amazing before she got signed. So I think that's great there. Really, your whole roster is really good. Honestly, I kind of got creative just because I was having so much fun, like, booking this stuff out. I ended up booking ahead and booking tournaments, like G1 style 5-star Grand Prix for me. And I did bring in Emerson Jane as one of my freelance people. I didn't sign her full time, but I did. She's like ROH adjacent. Like, down the road, I may get to her. I kind of focused on the people TK is already paying, pretty much. But I did bring in a few different people, so let's talk to it. Once again, tried to bring in the old school vibes of Ring of Honor. So I'm keeping Athena for now. If there's room for her in AEW, and she's not just going to be a background player like it looks like she's going to be in real life, then she could graduate for sure. But I just don't know if TK wants her that much at the end of the day. But for now, she's my champion. I'll build to getting the title off of her at some point. I like your idea of her dropping it on the first episode of the new era, though. That would be great. I kind of Final Battle is kind of like when everything comes to a head and the titles change and all that stuff for me. But I like your idea actually even better for this particular reign. Because it's been so long, you make somebody new, and Billy Starks is the logical choice, which I would also keep. I'm keeping the Renegade twins, Charlotte and Robin. They're both really great. They just don't have a lot of room in Ring of Honor to grow. Deonna Purrazzo, also keeping, perfect type of person for the pure title. I would put the women's belt on her, which it looks like they're going to do in real life as well. Diamante, of course, my most underrated player in Ring of Honor and AEW in general. I think she's a phenomenal talent and somebody that's got a really unique style. for sure main event level in the women's division under my run. I'm gonna bring in from I'll keep Kiera Hogan as well and Layla Gray. We get the rejects of Jade's Gray, Blue, Hogan, and all that. So we're doing that. Lady Frost, I'm gonna keep as well. Mercedes, Red Velvet, you mentioned them already. I'm keeping Rachel Ellering to keep Chris Hero happy, pretty much more than anything. Trish Adora also there. Viva Van, I'm keeping as well. Like I said, she was kind of a job person. Gonna try and bring her up. So then, bringing in from AEW, I bring in Emi Sakura and Hikaru Shida as my AEW people. Just totally going nowhere in AEW, but like in Ring of Honor, a
hell of a pick. Breaks my heart, but hell of a pick. Both.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wish that they had more going for them, but now it's time for a fresh start, a fresh coat of paint. Here, and we're gonna give them a shot. I'm also bringing in Serena, as you mentioned. Bring in Thunder Rosa. Kind of up and down, but she did do a good job in that hardcore match against Mariah May as well. So I think that there's stuff there. She's a good hand to have at least. Bring in Ty Mello. Again, she and Sammy can be happy together. I like her, actually. I think she's a little underrated, if anything. I think that you could gain something from her. She wouldn't really be my first pick to be the champion or anything, but I'd give her time early on and see how it goes. Like, see if there's anything to gain from her. She looked really good in Stardom, that run she did at the start of the year as well. So, giving her a shot. Ruby Soho went away due to being pregnant. We've got her husband here. Why not? If she's gonna be back in the ring, I'm gonna make the phone call and ask if she could come in. I thought she was really great as a promo, as a heel. I thought she did her best work actually after a somewhat shaky start as a babyface. Bringing in some people. Persephone, familiar with the fans, fits in what they want to do. Also can speak English. A native Texan. I think that I would try to build her up a little bit as well. So bringing her in, bringing Alicia Edwards, keeping Eddie happy, pretty much again. No real plans, former Ring of Honor history person. But just good to have around, good to honor our history. Speak. Same with Allison Kay, I'd bring in another former Woman of Honor. Always a decent hand. Like, she was at Impact for a little while. Had like multiple runs at Impact, actually, now that I think about it. Good look, good hand in the ring. Nothing too crazy I would have for her, but again, just calling back to my history. I bring in Janai Kai. I don't know why she's not signed with anyone, to be honest. But I really like her. Super unique look. And a great background. You bring in the martial artist background. Easy pick for the pure title, I think. And has a good attitude to her, too. I think she'd be a great pick. Again, she should be signed somewhere, in my opinion. But for now, I give her a shot. My two kind of off-the-wall picks, because I've really been watching more indie wrestling recently. And you did inspire that, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you.
What have you been watching?
So I've been watching a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. Like, pretty much anything I could find, I've been trying to get into it. Not all Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I will admit that fact. Although maybe it should have been. That was the best crowd. I can promise you that. For sure. But regardless, my two kind of off-the-wall picks. I actually watched the Shine anniversary show just because it was like a legacy show. Got to hear Lenny Leonard on there as well. And two of the people that I really loved on there, first and foremost, I'm all about representation and giving people chances. I want everybody to have a hero, so I'm going off the rails a little bit, or off outside, coloring outside the lines a little bit. Going with a wrestler from Spain named Sarah Leone. I think that she is a phenomenal technical wrestler, and she showed me a lot of babyface stuff. I've followed some of her matches I saw on YouTube in Spain as well. And I think that she's a really good natural babyface, good technical wrestler, which again was what I really wanted when I was looking at the people I'm bringing in. All of these people pretty much are technique-based wrestlers. And I really like what she brings to the table. Highly recommend her. I think she's got a really good future, another younger talent, but really great technique. The other one I'd bring in is Haley Dillon. I think she is a really, really good wrestler in the ring. And I didn't know what to expect with her, really. But, like, man, she looks great in the ring. Still relatively new, only 23 years old. But every time I saw her, I thought she looked incredible in there. She actually had a run along with, like, she was all over the place in the Northeast. She had a little bit of a run last year at GCW, but nothing too substantial. She was a part of the crew that was in Marvelous when they came over to the WrestleMania shows. She was a part of that along with Becca, who I know is one of your favorites as well. But Dylan Risks me. I would have her as kind of my up-and-coming star. Probably lose a lot early on, but would be a great focal point for the pure division. See, I went out of left field, gave you some names to watch, look out for. How about that, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, our rosters rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of love put into it.
Yeah, and a lot of thought put into it. We've built rosters up that really fit our ethos and our mission statements. But here's what I'm going to ask you. Who did you note that didn't fit your mission statement? Who did you tell Tony they've got to go? Besides Dustin.
All right, Q. So the way that my first episode would start, right, is that you would have a group of people arriving to the arena for work. That group of people would consist of the Frat House, the Swirl, Dustin Rhodes, the Von Erichs, the Kingdom, the Renegades.
Fire all the same people.
Layla Gray, Taya Valkyrie, and Rachel Ellering. And the lights are going to go off, and then you're going to hear all this fight, and they're going to come back on, and the whole new roster is going to be staring at the camera, and everyone in the back is going to be absolutely, maybe they're dead, who knows? They've just been like killed. It's like, it's deathmatch stuff, right? And they're like, the new era begins now. So I jump out all my releases.
So you don't like the Renegade Twins?
I can't tell you if I've ever seen them.
Well, they looked really good to me. But otherwise, everyone else, I agree with you. I also threw in Ed Helico as well. He has to go. That is in my book. You said you would keep him, but he's the only one that's different, I would say. I did keep Rachel just to make Chris Hero happy. What if he says, if you fire her, I'm going too?
I don't think he's going to like my partnerships very much, so...
He's got to go. I'm not even going to sit down and hang out with him for a little while and talk some grabs.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I would love to. I would absolutely love to. That's a dream.
Well,
wonderful, man.
I also put in Paul White as well. I just want to send a message. Like, at the end of the day. I know he's not a wrestler.
Message.
Yeah, him and Dustin gotta go. Even though like I said, I secretly like Dustin. I'll have him work backstage, but no more wrestling. If Daniels can't go, then we can't be having Dustin on our show. So yeah, we've completed our rosters pretty much. We've completed our mission statements. Who do you have? Do you have anybody you want to mention in terms of commentary? How would you set that up? Like anybody outside of the wrestling fact? Like, wait, what do you got planned for that?
I'm going to have a 3-man commentary booth with 2 people on interviews. So my commentary team will be the classic 2-man of Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman.
You can't let them go.
Position 100 times over. Who I'm going to throw into the mix to really spice it up, which very funny because this man was just announced as a new full-time commentator for Dynamite.
Yeah.
Brian Danielson. And then I'm keeping Lexi Nair on backstage like microphone
She's really good.
interviews, right? She's so great. Her whole thing with Athena and Billy Starks, like she is a multifaceted talent. And then the person I would put on sit down interviews is Jim Ross.
I thought of that too, because he's always really good at that more than the commentary. Like, would you make that something like a regular feature on the show type of
yes.
deal?
Like a Miz TV, but it's barbecuing with JR.
Yeah, exactly. Like a one, like every week you have somebody
I call it grilling with JR, and he's grilling you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, it makes perfect sense. On there, Conrad Thompson's going to give you a call though, talking about his podcast that he has as well.
Shit.
And as I said, he says, "Hey, I came up with that idea first," but he'll say it's okay. But can you have him on the show? He'll let you use his name. Do you agree?
No, Conrad Thompson is not.
He's out.
He's been banned from Collision.
Giving up the name just out of spite, pretty much. But yeah, it's like the Ring of Honor people are so good. Like Ian and Caprice and Lexi. Like, there's no reason to change them, really, at the end of the day. I didn't... The only difference change that I had, because I did think about that, I think Lexi and Bobby Cruz is another one that I think is very good for the role. It gives you more of a mature, old-school feel to everything as well. I even noted I have JR use my sit-down interviewer for special features.
Hell yeah.
I don't think I would have it an every week segment with him. I think with him, it would be a once-a-month segment, and only, like, no matter what happens, like, whatever my main event is for my big show, the go-home show would feature a sit-down interview with the main eventers. Like, that would be, like, my go-home selling point. JR sits down, questions them, maybe talks a little shit to him, calls out the heels and stuff like that. I want him to be big match only, but always a part of the show. But check this out. I'm doing something totally different with the commentary. Caprice and Ian, they're calling all of my men's matches. Like, all of the men's matches will be called by them. And I'm bringing in Dave Prazak and Lenny Leonard to call the women's matches. So you're having Prazak and Leonard involved. Brings back memories of a bygone era for Ring of Honor. They were the main commentators of the good days. And on top of it, I think they're great to have, because with Prazak especially, but also Leonard, he was on that Shine show that I watched. They give us a pipeline to women's wrestlers with their decades of expertise in promoting it and calling it, respectively. I'd always be asking them, like, hey, like, Dave, who are the girls coming up that you think we should take a look at? Give a job spot to. Bring in for a look. I would use their knowledge, and that would be their real value, but I also think they're great commentators, and that's the era of indie wrestling I love, and they're the two voices of it. So they would call the women, Caprice and Ian call the men, and on pay-per-views, they're both teams come together for the shows. What do you think of that idea? Good or too far outside the box?
I don't think there's anything that's too far out there if you believe in it. I'm into it.
I believe in it. I love Dave and Lenny. Like, I can't believe Lenny never got a big contract somewhere, because he's a freaking amazing commentator.
You know who I do as my ring announcer?
Who?
Larry Legend.
Really?
Yeah.
What happens to Bobby Cruz?
He gets jumped by Larry Legend at the beginning of the first episode.
Oh, man. How could you do this?
Getting thrown in the trash with the...
All right, now check this out. I've got two more people.
All right.
I'm having an on-air GM. I know this is controversial. And normally
GM
I'm not...
would be Chris Hero. Is it yours too? Oh, okay.
No. I like your idea, though. I like Chris Hero a lot. A fantastic wrestler at his prime. But for me, I'm calling it another favor from TK here. I don't even know if he would want to do this, but I think it's a good idea in a lot of ways. Adam Cole is my on-air GM for my version of Ring of Honor.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, outside the ring, you bring in Paragon. It opens up different storylines to where, hey, is he kind of like biased towards Kyle and Roderick, or is he not as biased as they want him to be, and that kind of edges him towards a heel turn? And like you said, plus it's just a feel-good moment. Former champion, he's hurt right now. I would have him kind of promo even, like, hey, one day I want to get back in this ring and, be a champion again. But for now, I'm coming at the place where I made my name, and like bring back the heart. It brings some heart and soul. And that's a big thing I wanted too in my roster. I want some heart and some soul in my promotion that the fans can latch on to instead of just, hey, these are good wrestlers from AEW that are on this minor league show today. Here we have a brand new roster. It's still not, again, it's clearly a minor league compared to AEW, but it's got its own identity. And it brings back the old school. Secondly, I'm hiring Violence is Forever to be security guard.
Fuck.
I'm hiring them.
I didn't sign them.
I'm hiring them to be security guards every single time we do an angle needing security of some sort. A fun bit for the fans and easy paydays. It's not fucked up. It's easy paydays. Like all they have to do, like they would just be a bit, pretty much. Like, it's Kevin. Yeah, like it would be. They would be into that. Kevin Koo always makes jokes about it on his Twitter. Like and they do it all the time in AEW anyway. He just took a huge bump on Collision as a security guard. Why can't I have them in ROH as that, Nello?
You know what? If you want to make your security guards characters, more power to you.
They're not really characters. It would never be mentioned on TV. Like it would purely be a bit that every time we have a security angle, they would come running out and the fans would laugh about it. But I might bring them let them do something if they want to. I feel like it would be more fun just to be security guard angle guys though, than to actually wrestle. I'm paying them. Like, what do you want from me? At least okay, so we figured out our angles now, or not our angles, but our rosters here. We talked about our identity a bit. Is there anything you really want to add on to it? Kind of yours is the pipeline system.
Yeah, and like honestly, like what are we getting into next?
I was going to talk about like the show itself. Like, because basically, how I set it up to Nello, I'm going to read exactly what I think we can agree the Honor Club system blows, and there isn't any room for growth. So how are we building the show? Do we change the name? Do you change the look? What are some options to pursue for the show in terms of filming the weekly show, distributing it, whether it's on Honor Club or somewhere else? So what's your main show? We'll kind of move to the special events and all that crap going forward.
So my dream station to land on, if we could get a DVD or not a DVD, TV deal.
You're stealing my idea. We're going to the old days of all DVD releases now, just like
PWG. So Adult Swim.
That would be so freaking awesome if that happened.
My show is like an edgier NXT in terms of tone as well, where it is like young people, which is why I think Hero would be such a fun GM, because he's like, guys, the ring is sacred. Like, let's talk about the history of pro wrestling. And Drew Parker's like, I'm going to put a syringe through little sicko's cheek. And he's like, God, why are we doing this, boys? Like, what is the purpose of this? But he's learning, right? So lots of fun stuff there. My partnerships. Can I get into that before I get into the vision?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to go through pretty much everything here. So I really want to have a global sort of reach in terms of the same way that an AEW has with your Rev Pro, New Japan, and CMLL, right? So what I would do is my Japanese partnership, I try to be as different as possible with these. Not just being like, oh, I'm going to be with Noah or something, right? I would partner up with Glate because they have their UWF division, which I think would pair really well with my Pure Rules division. And they have just some really solid pure style wrestlers. Ryuichi Kawakami, Soma Watanabe, fucking Chima, God, who
Nakajima.
Yeah, Katsuhiko Nakajima, El Lindemann,
Yeah,
so many people. I think
and
that
they
they
have a
would be.
history in AEW, like that. You can bring the Good Hearts, as the Young Bucks called him at the press conference. They have a history there.
Um. So after that, um, I couldn't go with CMLL, right? Just because I figured like that's AEW, so I didn't want to cross streams there.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I had the same idea in mind.
So I said, you know what? Why not go with IWRG?
You definitely can't go with AAA now, unfortunately.
So that was my next one was IWRG. They have some great guys. They're another sort of underseen company like a Glate, trying to get some shine on both companies and then just really getting in some high flyers, some fun lucha stuff. And then finally, my UK partnership would be Rise Underground with the likes of Lou Nixon, Big Fucking Joe, Danny Darko, B.A. Rose, Jack Harrop, the Iceman. Because one of the things that my show will have, I've talked about wanting this on NXT for so long. One of the things my show will have is the Dishonor division, where it's pretty much your hardcore deathmatch division. So, of course, the American promotion that I'm teaming up with, who do you think it is, Dylan?
I think it's obvious. I think that you are going to make the jump over to JCW, bringing in the Juggalos.
No! That would be fun, but I'm partnering with ICW No Holds Barred.
Yeah, I know. do we get Dylan Hales on Ring of Honor if you do that?
Yeah.
Good. Then you've won already.
So, and my vision now for this show, right?
Yeah.
So wrestlers will declare themselves for divisions, for the Dishonor division, for the Pure Rules division, for the TV title, for the world title, for the tag titles, right? So you declare yourselves for divisions and you can be in up to 2 at a time. So, that basically allows it so a lot of people can enter themselves not just into the tag team division, but into other singles ones as well. So, LFI, yeah, they can be in the trios division, but each of them can be in a different one too. A real emphasis on the implementation of division rankings and overall pound for pound fighter ratings. I really want this to feel like a live, I don't know, just like I loved AEW when they made the rankings mean something.
Yeah.
I really like when UFC does well with matchmaking and other MMA promotions, right? Like, I think that just by having rankings, it's your number 1 versus the number 13 who's just gone into the top 15. Like, this is crazy for a number 1's contenders, right? That's how I think you can really build people up and like advance them in fun ways. That's not just storyline, but through some simpler things, because this will be a 1-hour weekly show. So, it's not going to be, I would like to focus a lot more on the wrestling than the sort of backstage segments and stuff like that. Huge emphasis as well on the Global Wars partnerships and talent excursions. The show identity would be more similar to like OG Collision, like how it opened up with those promos and everything, really just solid wrestling. And I want to bring back the commercials like Jay Lethal talking about knee braces. I want to bring back that Ring of Honor goofiness is what I want to retain. And I think that shit would play really well on Adult Swim.
Totally.
Doing like just like, I got Billy Starks advertising a Labubu on Ring of Honor. Like, let's fucking go, dude. So yeah, again, 1-hour weekly show with monthly pay-per-views, not just these quarterly ones or whatever. I don't want to this is for the sickos. We're going to keep the show rolling no matter what. Everything is off Honor Club. It's all put directly onto YouTube. The archive, the weekly shows, and the pay-per-views. It costs $0 a month to watch the live presentations of the weekly show and the pay-per-views. But if you want to watch them after they air or any of the content after it airs, anything from the archive from the show that just aired today to the very first show with game type stuff, it's $5 a month. That's all.
I mean, gang type stuff is worth it alone for the record. But continue.
And then my big four pay-per-views would be Super Card of Honor, which is the one that allows for AEW talent to come down. So that would be like your once, but since it's different pay-per-views every month, this would be like a 3-week cycle, right? So real fun, in and out. This is very much like a Survivor Series type thing. This is how you get Danielson back on the card, a Samoa Joe, Briscoe, Garcia, Yuta, whatever. Global Wars, the big international show, the partnership of Glate, IWRG, and Rise. Dishonor Before Death, my big Fight Without Honor show, probably a deathmatch tournament. And Final Battle.
Yeah, Final Battle should for sure be the big show, in my opinion.
Final ideas here. Absolutely no more brand crossover between AEW and ROH except for that once a month pay-per-view. ROH champions have presence on all episodes. I would like to do it from a centralized filming location and or studio, a lot like how NWA Power did it. I thought that was really fun in the beginning. And I think that, again, like having an actual studio would really benefit the Adult Swim presentation. Oh my God, here. So I actually had an on-screen manager. It's not Chris Hero. It's the man that you can't say a single bad thing about, Jerry Lynn.
Okay. Former champion. Like that's I love it.
And again, I think he would be so fun. He's like, your name's what? Lil Sicko?
Yeah. Just him being confused by all these indie guys you brought in. Yes, this is potential gold you put together. I do have to admit.
So, and I want to I'm going to finish kind of putting it together, but I have a sort of first card. Like, I didn't put together an actual first card, but maybe we can do this on a follow-up. It's like our first Ring of Honor pay-per-view show. Yeah. But I know that my first televised event would end with LFI doing an Age of the Fall angle on Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko. And that would set up the tag title Fight Without Honor between Rush and Sammy, and Danger and Sicko is the main event of the first pay-per-view.
Love it. I love everything about this. I love that you've made Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko main eventers in your Ring of Honor.
I'm going to push them like the young Briscoes. Like, that's the energy I want to give them.
No, I love it. Like, I love your partnerships idea. Like, pretty much, like, they were such inspired choices.
I can't really call Mexico that inspired. I really just went between them and Zona 23, and I was like, I kind of want to do Rise Underground in the UK for my Dishonor like thing and ICW. Yeah. So IWRG just made sense. What am I going to do? Lucha memes?
Yeah, I mean, IWRG, they bring in a lot of guys that I think would fit your brand a lot. I mean, you get Los Macizos. Like, they're on IWG all the time. Yep. Ciclope and Miedo Extremo. Like, like veterans of the deathmatch game at GCW. You've got, like, Los Poros and G, who are all, like, Lunatic Extreme, Superboy, Fly Star, Lunatic Fly. Like, all these guys that would be good.
Dropping the knowledge. You're my man.
Yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of IWRG at one point. And to be fair, like, if you ever want to watch IWRG, their shows are around. Like, they're all free on YouTube. Like, if you go to the cage match listing of IWRG, there's links to their shows, like their big shows and their Thursday night wrestling shows every week on Thursday. Free on YouTube if y'all want to check those out on there. Brian Hashitari, she was one of my favorites in AAA, but she kind of got screwed over on there. She was a great women's wrestler. So I love your idea. The Glade is so great. Like, no pun intended with how it rhymes, but like, you bring in guys that have a history. Shima wins again, like, finesses everyone and gets an American excursion before he retires. That rules. Nakajima comes over, pissing off like half of the country of Japan. Like, he's won now in this.
Imagine Bandito versus Nakajima. Whew.
Yeah, like, you could do a lot of fun things. They have a great roster. It's just booked by morons, pretty much. And you made a great point. They have their own UWF style division that melds perfectly with the pure title. I love that idea. I wish I had thought of it myself. To be honest with you, it's so damn good. And you've got the deathmatch crossover stuff. So you've kind of built it around your taste in a way while keeping the spirit of it as well. So I enjoy that. I too purposely wanted to have relationships with different companies than AEW. I would state it, I don't want them working with CMLL or New Japan Talent unless it's on a Forbidden Door or some kind of specific cross-promotional show. Like, that's a once-a-year thing in my Ring of Honor. So what I would do, and this is my choice, I love the Adult Swim idea too. What show would you try to cross over ROH with, if you could do that, of theirs?
Which what? Sorry.
Which Adult Swim show would you try to cross over with?
Oh man. Okay, so like I'm not super up to date on what's current.
They've brought back a lot of the classics. I mean, Aqua Teen came back, Family Guy's back. They still play reruns of like Futurama and King of the Hill, which are wonderful shows.
Metalocalypse.
Yes, if they brought that back,
give me Mr. Danger and Lil Sicko a Metalocalypse now.
I wish that they still made that show, to be fair. But yeah, I love the idea though. Super inspired, great thinking, and fits your vision perfectly. What I would do is reach out to Wrestle Universe. All of our shows are part of the Wrestle Universe now. On there in Ring of Honor. Like, totally separate. Honor Club is an archive. Like I said, no more shows on there outside of it being an archive. And special things like that on there at the end of the day. I don't want people paying. I do want people paying, but I just don't think it works. I don't know the numbers. I mean, if they've got 100,000 subscribers and we don't know about it, that might change my mind on this idea. But I really doubt it. Like, if it was in the low four figures, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. With this, you've got a pre-established brand. You bring in Wrestle Universe to the Western Hemisphere, pretty much. Here, you get that. We're kind of a headline show on there. ROH is like the big show now to the West in Wrestle Universe. People already get Noah, DDT, and a bunch of Joshi promotions on there as well. It gives us content distribution possibilities. It also nets us multiple Japanese promotions to work with. So through Wrestle Universe, I get Noah, I get Tokyo Joshi Pro, Sendai Girls. TK probably won't work with Mari Gold. I'm not even really going to try, even though I would want to work with. But there's just too much heat there. DDT, Impro, etc. All of their smaller companies, we get roots there. I would try to work. I'd have Maple Leaf Pro positioned exclusively working with Ring of Honor. And basically, I would build to. This would be another play in bringing in Alexander. That would be my build to Final Battle this year. Double title match for the MLP and Ring of Honor titles. When convenient, bring in wrestlers from promotions worldwide. And shout out their home countries out in places like Australia with MCW, PWA. China's got Middle Kingdom Wrestling. England with the Progress and other UK potential has a ton of companies. Just lets us see more like the real global brand that isn't just about the big names, but we can also go underground in our own way. It wouldn't be as much as yours. I mean, you have me beat on the underground cred, but I would try to make that a part of my thing. Like, every once in a while, I'd bring in somebody from, Australia or Brazil or China or something like that, just to make us see more worldwide. So my identity is pretty clear. I've got two main ideals: pure sports like wrestling and a callback to the golden age of the indies. I would ensure that there aren't any over-the-top sports entertainment like storylines for exactly 1 year from me taking over. Again, full Baba, all clean finishes, no gimmick matches whatsoever. Like, no hardcore. I would go out of my way the first few months to make the referees as legit as possible. That's one of the things I hate about AEW is their referees. I want DQs called on stuff that others haven't even thought about in most major companies in decades. I would ensure that there would be counts all the time immediately when guys go outside, every single time. And if a referee doesn't do it, they're getting suspended as soon as they walk behind the curtain. Tag rules, I would ensure that you have 3 breakups and the 4th is a DQ, and I would have it happen literally within the first month. I would have someone get DQ'd for yanking the ref out of the ring. I would have someone get DQ'd for using a weapon. I would have a ref get knocked down incidentally and then get up right away. No exaggerated ref bumps in my Ring of Honor. The usage of the typical ref tropes, they don't apply in my company. I'm training the audience that the refs have things under control and aren't complete buffoons like in AEW. And in fact, I would purposely instruct the commentators to rag on AEW. Like every time we see a dumb angle like MJF threatening to set Briscoe on fire, or a farce like MJF and Page happens, I would have them comment on it and talk about how bad it was, and ensure everyone watching knows you're getting the best pure wrestling, and that'll never happen here. Of course, ultimately, that would be the early going. That would all eventually be used to build to an insane fight without honor, and it being a huge deal. Or a real ref bump, or a legit controversial call of some sort. You know, where they miss a guy under the, a guy's leg on the rope. I want that in a year. That'll all come down the line, but we have to pull stuff back together to make it all matter again. My goal for the first year, real sports, clean finishes, like when wrestling was better as a whole. And we build back to the big extreme matches and the fight without honor and all that. So that's how I would do it. My show would be, again, I would have it on Wrestle Update for my show, I would constantly have a tiny box at the bottom left-hand corner where it shows the time of every single match. So as soon as that bell rings, you see 0, 0, 0, and then 1, 2, it counts down by the second, then the minutes. Every single match gets timed on air. There would be basically information relevant to the participants, basically who the defending champion is in a title match, what color attire each wrestler wears, to help new viewers follow along. Similar to the box score, like in NBA, at the bottom, and everything like that. And it would also show the number of rope breaks in a pure title match, and a number of breakups in a tag, things like that. I mostly like the basic aesthetic of ROH. I think the logo is a good tribute to the Golden Age era. What I would do is go back to the black mats to separate it from AEW. The ring is all black and red. I would 100% change the set design. Every single person in terms of production. Cameras, graphic design, music. And God bless Mikey Ruckix. I love his music in AEW and the work he puts in. But I want them all different from AEW. The traditional big screen entrance, that's done away with. I would have it designed kind of like a tunnel at the start of NFL games, where the wrestlers have a dramatic entrance, a dramatic appearance in their ring walk. Maybe a tiny scream at the top of it for a name tag logo or whatever. The tunnel itself, maybe you could put some lights on there and change colors. But I want the wrestlers kind of hidden until they finally get to the ring. It would make it different from AEW, pretty much there. For the big shows, I would have a plan of 6 pay-per-views and 6 special shows every year. So basically, every other month, we'd have a new pay-per-view. January, the Big Bang. Call back to the old Ring of Honor show. Ring of Honor anniversary show in February, that's a pay-per-view. Dean, free show for everybody. We've got one going on right now as we record it, but I'd move it to March, kind of pick up the original spirit at the end of March for Dean. Free show for everybody. April, Supercard of Honor. I bring in Best of the World, Death Before Dishonor, Global Wars would be in November, and then Final Battle in December. And I'd have my tournaments. I would use my Noah contact to get the rights to the Global League name, pretty much. So you would have what the N1 was called before it became the N1. My league would be called the Global League. With the show's names, I used quite a few callbacks to Ring of Honor history. The one big show a month is both fan-friendly while allowing the booking to get into a regular flow. Build anticipation on major matches. Cut out all the meaningless titles. We keep the big five there. The Global League winner would receive a title shot at Death Before Dishonor as a yearly tradition. And then the Women's Grand Prix winner would get the shot at Final Battle. I would make the women's shot the main tournament going into Final Battle. Again, make it a little bit different to the other companies. Each tournament would have a representative for all the companies that ROH works with. And the rule being that the bottom scorer in each block are banned from competing the following year. I would announce that. Like, whoever we book last place, they're not coming back no matter what. Global Wars would purposely be the show I hold at an international venue. I differ one every year and build the show around the venue and the country of origin. I would not run the same country twice for many years with the show catered to a local flair. Of course, Japan is an obvious choice for episode 1. Dean would be the first show I bring back hardcore wrestling in to fit with the show. And the pay-per-views would be $30 straight up and 50% off of that if you're an existing Wrestling Universe subscriber at the end of the day. So $15 if you're a subscriber, $30 otherwise. Builds Wrestle Universe. They get a great deal to pay us on their show. And we get a home to work with. So my other idea, to bring back the Ring of Honor video wire. If you don't know, if you weren't watching it. Yeah, so basically, back in the days when, again, the golden age, when the DVD was all they did, DVD exclusive company before they had the HD net contract, they would have the video wire, which they aired on YouTube. That's how they shot angles and stuff back in the days. This would be my way for non-Wrestle Universe subscribers to keep up with storylines. In this case, I would have the angles and major promos on my Wrestle Universe show, but I would lean on the wrestlers themselves for video wire ideas. If someone wants to cut a promo on someone while they're at their house, do it. Film it, send it to me, we'll get our team to edit it. If you've got a video editor on your own, cut a 2-minute video, send it in. I would pick the best of the best I got in a given week and put up a 10 to 20 minute video wire every week. Make it like a competition among my roster. Get their juices flowing, make them feel like they're a part of the show, and can control their fate a little bit more. The best ones, they go on video wire. The ones I don't pick, well, you can upload it on your own socials pretty much. For the first 6 months, I would also let the fans vote on a match of the week from our given cards, our weekly shows, and the match that they vote for from the weekly TV show on Wrestle Universe would be get uploaded to free on YouTube. In addition to that, it being fan-friendly, it's also live polling of our fans. So if someone's constantly getting high votes to get put on the free show, and their videos do big numbers, it kind of helps us see organically who's over with the fan. It gives our special a chance to do even bigger YouTube numbers because our pay-per-views are YouTube specials as well. So that gives us live feedback at the end of the day. So I think that with those ideas, again, I've talked for a little while here. What do you think of what I set up here? The Wrestle Universe connection, the pay-per-views, the video wire, and my connections with YouTube as well.
Very well thought out. I'm a big Wrestle Universe fan, and I think to have a American promotion of that stature on there would be really awesome and super beneficial for Japan and getting more of a Western audience signed up for subscribers. At that point, you're connected to so much other stuff. It's just amazing. I love it, man.
It feels like a win. It feels like an honestly realistic possibility that's a win-win for both sides. Wrestle Universe, like you said, gets the American company front and center, and Ring of Honor gets to be finally they're still not like a true big fish, but a big fish in their pond. Like Wrestle Universe, Noah's not as popular as New Japan. Everybody knows that. but like we are a main event level company in our side of the ecosystem, so to speak. So it gives us a purpose. It helps everybody. Again, fan friendly in a lot of ways. You get a free match every week on YouTube for the free shows anyway, or from the Wrestle Universe shows anyway. And it helps them out a lot. So, yeah. Overall, do you have any kind of anything else you want to mention about your version of?
No, I feel like I got most of it out. This was really fun. I hope my show gets an Adult Swim.
That would be brilliant if that happened. For me, I just feel like my show, my Ring of Honor is distinct from AEW. My plan is basically to start back at start in a lot of ways. Again, I know like it may seem a little boring to like not do all that goofy stuff and like it's ultraviolet stuff as well. But again, I would bring it back eventually, but I would have to recondition the fans that hey, this is a different style of promotion than you're used to seeing. If you give me patience and some timing, ROH can be that much better, and actually not just for us, but also for the purpose of preparing young talent for AEW proper that TK believes in. Just let them be ROH stars first, then get their chance on AEW, as well as giving Tony a chance to cycle the guys down for a little while, and let the AEW fans miss them. With this roster, I believe the shows will be better. The Wrestle Universe agreement gives ROH more international cred. The identity is strongly enforced, and I believe it can rise to heights never seen before. Both as a rival on publicly, but deep down also a feeder system. I would have no illusions otherwise, but I would have to build them up as something worthwhile on their own first to be a true feeder for them, as well as a company the fans can invest and feel passion for again. I feel like if you're an ROH fan from the old days, you finally have a team that you can root for again for the first time in 6 years. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Like you said, maybe we can follow up on this and kind of book our way, to our start, so to speak. I booked all kinds of stuff on mine. Like I said, I got a little carried away, to be honest. I booked the whole Honor Grand Prix leading into Final Battle, pretty much. So I did get a little carried away. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more if you're up for it, Nello, in the future. I think it could be a lot of fun. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for the idea and putting so much work into it.
We both did. So your company, your version of ROH rules. I love the idea you've brought together with the new generation, like the dishonored group that you have. Very cool. And yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys out there enjoyed it. Would love to know what you think about our ideas, our rosters. We weren't really in competition. We were just kind of throwing out different ideas. Would love to see what everybody else thinks too. So with that said, Nello, as always, I think you need to have the floor right now, and you need to get off of whatever's on your chest, whatever's in your heart, whatever's in your soul. Please let us all know.
I'm also signing Calvin Tankman.
He's a very good pick. Like he's another one. Why doesn't he have a contract somewhere?
Maybe MLW. I feel like,
maybe,
if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like he's been there. Like to be honest, like I said, I mean, he deserves a big time contract. To be honest, somewhere. No, not even an MLW. He hasn't wrestled there all. Yeah.
He was in one Ring of Honor match in 2024.
Should have been in more than one. He's a great wrestler.
Dude, he was in a tag team with Beef called Beef Tank. That's sick. And Manders was teaming up with them. What the fuck? Sign them all.
I'm signing Beef Tank. Like we must sign Beef Tank, and they will also be my tag team champion eventually.
Yeah, there's my closing line. Sign Beef Tank.
Could not have possibly come up with a better way to end the show. So we will leave it off there. shout out to Ring of Honor. I hope, TK, if you did listen, you don't think we're hating too hard, because I'm glad that the company's still alive and it wouldn't have been without being signed. Being bought, really. Not being signed, but being bought. And I do appreciate that for a company that I once loved truly and thought it was the best thing ever. So thank you for that. Perhaps some of our ideas can be used in the future, or at least, again, maybe, make a few phone calls. See what you can make happen. That would be my advice. It's nothing definitive, but some ideas we've thrown out. And it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy. But we will be back very soon to all of you wonderful folks out there. I hope that you stick around. I hope you keep your eyes open. Hope you keep your ears open. And as always, you know I love you. And until next time, this has been your Wrestle Update.